Drake is filing a petition against Universal Music Group and Spotify, accusing the companies of, quote, artificially inflating the spread of Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. In the New York court filing, Drake alleges UMG and Spotify, quote, deceived consumers into believing the song was more popular than it was, manipulating the streaming services to make the song go viral. UMG released a statement saying in part the suggestion that UMG would do anything to undermine any of its artists is offensive and untrue.
The petty king himself turned things up a notch by filing on Monday in Manhattan court. Drake's attorneys accuse UMG of violating the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, the federal RICO statute often used in criminal cases against organized crime. They also allege deceptive business practices and false advertising under New York state law. The legal action comes as a surprise as UMG has distributed Drake's music for his entire career.
Okay, so this does not look good for Drake. And I want to explain exactly why, and there's a psychological component to this that I don't think should be missed, and all of us should be able to learn a lesson from this. Now, first of all, throughout hip-hop history, there have always been battle records. The first one that I remember, I'm 48 years old, and the first one that I remember was a rapper from New York. He's from the South Bronx, and his name was KRS-One. And he battled a guy from Queens, New York, by the name of MC Shan. And it was a big deal, and they went back and forth on their records. One of the biggest ones that I remember also was between Jay-Z and Nas. Of course, there was the famous East Coast, West Coast battle between Tupac and Biggie. And there were many, many others. I can go on and on and on. But what was always consistent in these battles is there was always a loser. Someone always lost the battle, but that person was able to make more albums and address the battle in their own way going forward. What Drake has done is he's now making legal accusations about this battle. He's now suing as a consequence of this battle. And it doesn't look good. Now, I want to be totally clear here. I was in Los Angeles when Not Like Us dropped. And you couldn't go anywhere in Los Angeles and not hear that song. When you turn on the radio, you would hear that song constantly. Like, literally, like every fourth or fifth song, they were playing Not Like Us. If you were walking down the street, it was coming out of every car. If you were going to the store, it was coming. I mean, you could not get away from this. And I remember thinking, if I were Drake, it would be very, very difficult for me to hear this song going on everywhere and everybody talking about this song that is referring to me in such negative ways. I actually felt bad for him, genuinely. Like at the end of the day, like he's a famous person, he's rich and he's successful, but he's also a human being. And I remember thinking when that song was everywhere, this has got to be hard for Drake, the man, the human, the real person, Drake. And I think what he has done now, this lawsuit he has filed, speaks to how hard that must have been, which makes me want to talk about how you take a loss. I think it is unfair for Drake to take this loss and then say, I didn't really lose, the streaming platforms plotted against me. All of the things that he is accusing the streaming platforms are doing are the type of promotion that A, they do all the time for all other artists, and B, that has included him in the past. So even if they did do these things, which Spotify has come forward and said we did not do these things, but even if they did do these things, they're the type of things that they do all the time to promote albums, and he has been the beneficiary of it. So it just sounds like he's saying, I didn't really lose the battle. There was a conspiracy to make that song more popular than what it otherwise would have been. When what he should have done was respond musically, because that is the platform and that is what everyone has always done throughout the history of music, throughout the history of rap battles. Rap is a competitive sport. It has always been a competitive sport. There have always been these back and forths against really popular rappers. And there's always been someone that took a loss, and how they parlayed it into the next phase of their career has always been the big deal. For example, when Nas dropped the song Ether about Jay-Z, Jay-Z was the Drake in that moment. Like in that moment, Jay-Z was the top of the rap world. Nas dropped the song Ether. It went everywhere. It was viral before going viral was a thing. But look at where Jay-Z is now. We still consider Jay-Z to be the GOAT, the greatest of all time rapper, because he was able to take the loss and continue to build his career. I'm not sure, now that Drake has taken this action, rather than respond musically, I'm not sure we're ever going to see Drake the same as a recording artist. And there's a lesson in here for all of us, because we all have to take losses. And when you take the loss gracefully, and when you continue to carry on and build your big picture career, or when you move on with the big picture in mind, then you don't become petty. You don't fall into this pattern where now everything you ever do is going to be in question as a consequence of this thing. So I really, honestly, as the man Drake, I felt bad because this song about him in a negative way was everywhere and you could not escape it. I was hoping that he would respond musically. And to be honest with you, in this whole time, I've been waiting for him to drop some sort of like amazing album, or maybe even another song about Kendrick after they went back and forth during their battle. But now that Drake has taken this pathway, I'm not sure his career is ever going to be the same. But I want you guys all to notice, when in life you have to take an L, remain integral, remain yourself, and just keep moving forward. When you become petty, and what he's trying to say is, I didn't really lose that battle. That song was only as popular as it became because they colluded against me. That is not a good look. And once you start trying to defend yourself in that kind of way, you lose it. So I want you guys all to understand, we are going to take losses. That is part of the human experience. But take the loss in a way that just honors who you are and maintains the big picture. Had Drake responded immediately by dropping amazing music, which Drake is very good at doing, or making another song about Kendrick and hitting him even harder, then it maintains the integrity of the sport of hip-hop and maintains Drake's integrity. The action he has just taken is a threat to that. And man, as a human, I hope he recovers. I hope his career is the same. I hope he doesn't suffer any long-term issues financially or otherwise. But this is a lesson in all of us on how to respond to a loss, and unfortunately, more specifically, how not to respond to taking a loss. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed listening to my psychological takes and things going on in pop culture, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you get notified every time we release a new video. And then also share this video, like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.